Well, with that said, let's get our guest speaker up here, which I'm excited about getting him up here. He used to play for the LA Rams. That's right. You know what numbers was? His number was 43. I had the wrong number last week. One of his goals was he always knew he was going to be on TV. He always knew what he wanted. And when he got it and accomplished it, people, they knocked their doubt down because he went on to be a man of his word and he kept seeking it till he got there, just like your AC in business. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, can we give Mr. Regional Director on his way to RVP? I love his story about him driving 190 miles round trip to go to a meeting when he first got in because he was just that committed. Let's give a warm welcome right now to none other than Mr. Greg Williamson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thomas. I am just so grateful to be on this call. I appreciate you, taking me off the stands and putting me in the game. And I'm ready. I'm ready to, play the game. And I want to give someone a word today. And, before I get started, this is who I am. I am a courageous, humble servant leader. I am a courageous, humble servant leader. That's who I am. And so the name of the topic, the name of this training is I am. So yesterday, Mr. Thomas was speaking about having a seatbelt. So, Mr. Thomas, I don't know if you have that seatbelt today, but if you have your seatbelt, make sure you tuck it in because I'm going to give you something that's going to be powerful. That's going to actually it can start impacting you right away in life, and that's using the I am. So, who do you say you are? See, I know on our name tags on Zoom, mine says Gregery Williamson. That's what I was named at birth, but that's not who I am. So who are you? It's not just a name tag. It's not Miss Jackie Black. It's not Miss Renata Krumer. Who are you? And so just know that whatever you attach I am to becomes who you are. It becomes your world. In the Bible, Moses asked God, who should I say you are? And God said, this is his response. I am who I am. See, I am is the law of assumption. The daily words that we speak to ourselves and and about ourselves, it actually shapes us who we become and not necessarily who we're destined to be sometimes. Whether you whisper self-doubt or bold uncertainty, you're actually speaking your existence on who you are. Now, I am is a sacred signature. So you don't wait to become something. You declare it. You declare what you want. And in doing so, you align with the reality to match it. So for example, who on this call remembers the artist, his name is Tupac Shakur. He was a rapper. So Tupac was a rapper, and I really believe that he was meant to be a leader of people. He had the spirit of actually leading people to do big things. But what Tupac was doing, he was going around through his music and just going around speaking that he was a thug and that he was a gangster. And he spoke that so much to the point where his world started to manifest itself. And until he was tragically gunned down what to appear to be gang violence. See, what he was speaking, what he was putting out there really wasn't who he was, but because he was doing that, it became his world. So when you use I am, it's a statement of presence, ladies and gentlemen, and of being every time that you say I am. Whatever you say behind it, it's a statement of being. Now, just remember that you are the creator of your world, and by what you say and how you see yourself. So if you're telling yourself, I'm broke, I'm not enough, your world is going to start creating just that. If you start saying, I'm only going to be an ETL, I'm only going to be CQ, your world will create that where that's where you will only be. Now, I am is not a description. When you say I am, that's a command. See, that activates the universe. That wakes everything up because now whatever you put behind it, that's what it's going to start giving you. So when you say something, saying, "Hey, look, you know what? I want to be an SVP. I want to have some money. There's no command there. You're actually, it's a whisper, and you're not waking anything up from there. But when you use I am, it wakes it up. So if you have the keys to success, but you need to understand you have everything that you need in order to win. But on how you drive the vehicle is by the words you choose. It's about what you say about yourself. And when you say I am, and then you put emotions behind it, it starts to take roots and grow. So who do you believe yourself to be? Who are you? And this is a time right now is go ahead and put it in the chat. Who are you? Who do you want your life? What do you want your life to be? Who are you? Put that in the chat who you are. I am a courageous, humble servant leader, as I said at the beginning of this call. So who are you? Put that in the chat there. And instead of saying, I'm bad with money, I'm too old, I'm too shy, say, I have abundance. Even if you can't see it, say, I have abundance. I'm vibrant. I'm outgoing. I'm courageous. See, as you're saying that and you're starting to put feelings behind it, your world will start to come to, and you'll start to get what you're putting out there in the universe. Now, people say, well, I just go ahead and change my behavior. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to do that. And but it's a lot more than just changing your behavior. You got to change your being, who you are. One of my mentors, his name is Mr. Efren Tejada, Senior Vice President. And Efren Tejada, he really talks about be, do, have. And Mr. Thomas speaks on this as well. Be, do, have. What that means is that you have to be it, and then you have to do the action. And when you do those two things, you're going to start seeing reaping the rewards of what you want. And I'm going to show you in a little bit on how that works. So be, do, have. Be it, do it, and then have it. It can't be in reverse or anything like that. It has to be in that order for it to start manifesting. One of my mentors, her name is Mrs. Jocelyn Driscoll, Regional Vice President. If you ever heard her say, you have to be customer acquisition, you have to be team building. See, she's saying that that's something that's a being. That's who you are. So instead of saying, hey, I want 100 customer points, or I want 200 customer points, say, hey, look, I'm being 100 customer points. I'm being 200 customer points. I'm being that. I'm being customer acquisition, because that's who you are, because that's what you go out and do. See, if you come into that space, you will start getting just that. So what do you declare daily? Does it align with the life that you really want? Are you saying things? Are you putting out, I ams that you really want, but it's happening because you're putting it out there? See, God created us in his own image. And this is what a lot of people think. They think that he created us with a head, two arms, two legs. That's the image. And it's not. It's not the physical image that we would think that's on the outside. It's the power how we create our worlds. We are creators. That's the image that we have. That's why, in the Bible, Jesus said, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can move mountains, because we are creators as human beings. See, we can do things like make a car we can build a car that drives without somebody in it. We can actually, take a rocket and put it out into the moon. You don't see a dog actually doing it. You don't see a horse or a cow, inventing a car that moves. You don't see a horse, a dog, a cow, or any other animal, any other creature, creating things that we create, because we are created in the divine's own image. So the most powerful words, ladies and gentlemen, are the words that you say to yourself. The future is not what you wait for. The future is right now. That's all we have is right now. And so the future is already in front of you, and your frequency, the way that you that your energy goes. You know, you hear a lot of people say, as your energy goes. I might be saying it wrong, and somebody probably can put it in the chat. But as your thoughts go, your energy flows, and so the future is already ahead of you. We vibrate on different frequencies. You know, have you ever been around someone and as soon as they show up, their energy is so low they just drain the energy from yourself, and you're just so drained because of that person. See, that person is they're moving on a low energy. They're moving from a low frequency. And then on the flip side, have you ever been around someone that, you know, when you're around them, I mean, their energy is so high that you can actually feel their vibration just by being next to them. Just to give you an example, a couple of weeks ago, or about a month ago or so, I was out in Fresno, and Mr. Thomas was out there, and I went to Mr. Thomas's hotel room, and uh, myself and a couple other leaders, we were sitting out on the bench outside of the hotel. And I'm sitting next to Mr. Thomas. And see, Mr. Thomas's frequency is so high, I can actually feel it sitting there right out there, right there on the bench. Now it was hot in Fresno. It was a hot day, but that's not where I was. That's not the reason why I was feeling that radiation. I was feeling that radiation because of the man that was sitting next to me, because he operates on such a high frequency. That is the reason why he's a senior vice president, because of the way he operates. And so you want to make sure that you get your frequency up. The higher that you get your frequency, the faster that you can get whatever that you want, and it will actually come to you. Yesterday, Mrs. Renata Krumer, she was, she was talking about visualization. You know, sitting there just visualizing your world on what you really want. You know, what do you really want out of world, out of life? Can you see it? You know, can you touch it? You know, can you really feel what you really want? See, that's the feeling, that's the emotions that you want. Once you declare what you want, and then have that feeling, have that visualization to feel what you want, and it was going to bring it to you that much faster. So, ladies and gentlemen, before I end this call, I want to say this, just give you guys a story that had happened to me, and a lot of times, we kind of go off and kind of go off the path. But just like I'm saying today, this is something that I had to sit back and look at, and I had to sit back and just say, hey, what am I doing? And it was the way I was speaking to myself. And I remember a story back in the day when I was a kid, and I had a childhood friend, and we was in the sports world, where I played and all that. Um, this gentleman, he wasn't that really good in sports. And matter of fact, he wasn't really that good in school, but he just didn't apply himself much in school. But this is what he used to do. He used to say, hey, Greg, uh, let's get in the car. And we were teenagers. And he said, let's get in the car. Let's go look at some cars. And I said, okay, all right, cool. So I would go out, and we would go to the car dealership. Now, I thought we was going to go to a Toyota dealership or maybe a Volkswagen dealership. I thought we was going to go to a small car and just look at some cars. No, this guy took me to the Porsche dealership, the Mercedes dealership, the Bentley dealership. He took me to these high-end dealerships. And we walked in. We were young kids. We walked in, and he held his head high, walked into the showroom, got into one of those cars and said, Greg, get in. And I got in, and we're sitting there, and he said, man, can you smell the leather? I was like, yeah. He said, man, don't this feel good? And I was like, yeah. And he's sitting there, and he's moving the rear view mirror, and he's looking at it, and he's got his hands on the steering wheel, and he's pretending like he's on the 405. And he's like, man, can you imagine just being on the 405, and man, we're just cruising? And I wasn't seeing it. He was saying it, but I wasn't seeing it, because his vision, he was already there. And so um and so the people at the dealership would say, hey, can we help you? No, I'm just looking. And we did that over and over and over and over and over. And there was times where we would go and we would see open houses, and he said, Greg, hey, let's go look at this open house. And I'm like, man, why are we going over here? Because it's a mansion. I mean, this house is huge. He said, come on, let's walk in. And we walk in. And like I said, we're kids. And he's looking around, and he's saying, man, this is so nice. He said, man, you know what? I would do this differently. I would put this over here. And he's actually, talking about what he would do if he had that mansion. And I'm like, man, this is so expensive. Why are we out looking at these mansions? And time went on. This is what we did this all the time. So time went on, and he told me one day that he was thinking about uh, having his own business. And so I said, well, what do you want to do? And he said, I'm thinking about driving trucks. And so we're here in California, but the business that he was going to get was over on the East Coast. So he's actually driving these trucks from the East Coast to the West Coast. And whenever he came back to California, he would call me up and I would see him and he's dirty and, dingy from driving all the way through. And I was like, man, you're killing yourself. Why are you doing this? But over time, he went from one driver to two drivers. And then it got to the point where he wasn't driving anymore. And I was wondering like where was he? He wasn't in the trucks anymore. And so one day he called me up and he said, Greg, I want you and your wife to meet me and my wife at this restaurant. It was a real exclusive restaurant in Orange County. And I said, okay. So my wife and I, we get dressed up and we head to this restaurant. And when we get there, it wasn't just my wife and I and his wife and himself. It was 11 other friends of his and their wives. And we're sitting at this restaurant. And he told us, he said, hey, look, whatever's on the menu, you can have. Wherever you want. The plate of food was like started off at $50. The bottle of wine started off at $100. And we all ate and drank and was merry and had a great time. And when that bill came, the waiter walked up to him, gave him the bill. He did not shrink. He gave him his card. He paid it. And I was like, wow, what is going on here? And so when we started walking towards the car, I was just like dumbfounded because I was trying to figure out how did he pay for all this? And he said, Greg, where did you park at? I said, man, I parked way over there. So I got a long ways a walk, but I'm parked over there. And as I said, where did you park at? I turned to my left and didn't even hear the vehicle. And it was the most beautiful Mercedes Benz, white pearl color that I have ever seen. Rolled up, valet. He got in. I never heard the car to this day. Didn't even hear the car's engine. And he got in that car and he and his wife took off. And I was like, whoa, what did I just see here? And then I called him 2 days later and I said, man, what's going on? He said, Greg, remember that trucking company that that I was telling you about? And I said, yeah. He said, man, I'm a millionaire in that. He said, man, everything that I was telling you back when we were kids, he said, I have it now. See, the thing about it is he was already being at 17, he was being that person already. He was walking towards it. See, me on the outside, I didn't see that. I didn't see it because, he didn't do well in school. He wasn't great in sports. So I didn't think that he can do, what else can you do? But the thing about it is he believed it. He put it out there. He didn't just speak about it, but he actually put actions into it. And this gentleman, like I say, he's a good friend of mine still today, but that always resonates to me. So whenever I go off the deep end, whatever, I think about that story because he was being it. He went and did the work. And because of that, everything that he wanted in life, he had it. And so, that's any one of us. That just shows that you don't have to be the fastest, you don't have to be the strongest, you don't have to be the tallest, the whatever it is. See, if you can have it within you, and you already have it within you, all you got to do is speak it. I am. I am a courageous, humble servant leader. I am vibrant. I am love. I am wealthy. I am. Whenever you attach behind that, you have activate the universe and it starts to work for you or with you, but it starts off with you. You are the creator of what you and what your world wants to be. So if you want to be a senior vice president, I am a senior vice president. Start speaking it right now. I am that. I am customer acquisition. I am team building. And when you start saying those things, you're going to start activating. Things are going to start lining up to you because you put that out there. Because we are creators. We are created in God's image.